Hey everybody, it's Ryan from Tepidino Insurance here today to talk to you guys a little bit about insurance and commercial insurance, specifically commercial insurance today, and the type of coverages and portions of coverage that you may or may not have on your policy. Now, if you own a business, you got to have insurance. You have to have workman's comp insurance if you have employees, and you need to have general liability insurance if you are, basically you have to have it no matter what. But you especially want to make sure you have it if you have a storefront. Now, some policies, depending on where you're at, you may be limited to the types of policies you have or the coverages that you may be able to get on any specific policy. Something to make sure that you have for any kind of business, you need to have $1 million to $2 million, $2 million ag coverage. It's basically $1 million per occurrence, $2 million aggregator per year. So you could essentially have two $1 million claims in a year and you're fine. Or a bunch of little claims totaling up to $2 million in total claims for the year. It's a little bit more in depth on how it works, but I mean that gives you a general idea on how it works. You should definitely talk to your insurance agent if you have one to find out a little bit more information on that. But for what we're talking about, that gives you enough information to understand what I'm talking about here. There some policies, if you have say you have a coastal business or a business in a high risk area. Some of the standard market companies won't offer insurance in those areas because their program guidelines just don't fit the bill. So you're stuck with what's called a surplus lines policy. Now these policies have certain restrictions or limitations to them. Sometimes they come in two parts. For the most part, if you're in a prime location, every insurance company wants to offer you a policy kind of thing. Then you're going to most likely end up with what's called a BOP, or a business owner's policy. Okay, if you are in one of these higher risk areas, say a coastal area, shore town, shore business, seasonal business, that kind of thing, you may be offered what's called a package or commercial package, and that basically is almost the same as a BOP policy, but it's split into two separate parts. So you get two separate policies to cover the same risk. Okay, now for the most part. The coverages are very similar. You'll still have the $1 million to $2 million aggregate coverage on the general liability. However, the property portion or things, say you have a shore t-shirt shop or a gift shop at the boardwalk, right? You'll have a general liability that'll cover the slip and fall damages, that kind of stuff. And then you'll have the property coverage, which will be your belongings, the things that you guys own in the store, fixtures, merchandise, things like computers, stuff like that. Those types of coverages are covered under the second portion of the policy, and that would be the commercial property or business property coverages. Now, over the last, I would say, month, with the season approaching, I've reviewed a number of policies for some shore businesses in Atlantic City, in Ocean City, and Cape May, Wildwood, that area, and I've come to find that some of these people only had the general liability. So you had a shop owner who thought they had coverages for their property, for the inventory that they stock every year, the t-shirts, the knickknacks, the souvenir items, and they thought they had coverage for that, and effectively they did not. So I was able to come up with some pricing for them with some quotes that covered the general liability, the $1 million, $2 million aggregate, which is pretty much standard for any kind of business. If you have a more higher risk type business, you may want more coverages there. It's really dependent on what you need, possibly what your landlord will require, or maybe possibly what the state would require. But the property coverages were also added into these policies, and they were just slightly more than what they were paying now. But in the grand scheme of things, to not have coverage, God forbid something happened, the place burned down, you get $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 worth of merchandise and inventory that's gone. And as a small business owner, chances are that could probably put you out of business. So you want to make sure that you have those types of things covered. Another difference between a standard market policy or BOP policy versus a commercial package, some of the coverages that you may get standard on a BOP policy are considered extras on a commercial package. For instance, employee dishonesty, sign coverage, plate glass window coverage, things of that nature. They're all additional coverages that it's kind of like a la carte. You pick and choose what you want, and everything you pick increases your premium a little bit. So if you have a storefront that is in a high risk area, maybe there's a lot of bars or something, and after some sporting events, possibly they're can be some rowdiness, and you might get a window broken. If you're in a surplus area, you want to make sure that you get plate glass window coverage or glass coverage for that. And something that's very important for small business owners is the sign coverage. Now, on a standard BOP, let's say you're inland, prime area that you're going to be getting insured for, most BOP policies will have a provision for sign coverage. They may cover up to $1,000 to $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 worth of sign coverage. Now that means that if your sign was to get damaged, something hits it, gets broken, shatters, falls off the building, it depends on really how it happens. But if there's damage to the sign, essentially there is coverage for that, up to the policy limit that you choose. Now, on a surplus policy, that's not standard coverage. You do have to elect to have that coverage, and it will cost you some additional dollars. So if you have a sign, again, if you have an elaborate sign on your shop that costs you a good amount of money, then obviously you want to make sure you have that item insured. Okay. Now, things that a lot of business owners tend to overlook, and I actually came across this recently with a restaurant that I was insuring. They insisted that they didn't have to have workers' compensation insurance. Well, if you have a business and you have employees and you're in the state of New Jersey, you have to have workman's comp insurance. Whether you're sole, one employee or 10 employees, you still have to have, if you're paying payroll, you have to have workman's comp insurance. You may skate under the radar and the state may not find you for a while, but eventually they will find you and they will fine you a pretty penny. And for all intent and purposes, workman's comp insurance is fairly inexpensive. So if you have a business and you don't sure if you have workman's comp insurance or if you know you don't have it, I would suggest that you talk to your insurance agent and ask them to get you a quote. Now, workers' comp is a little tricky. There are standard market companies, and for whatever you want to talk about, or class-wise or business-wise, whatever your business may be, the price is basically the price based on the classification codes. So if you are a carpenter, then you get the carpenter's rate for workers' comp. If you're a administrative assistant, you get the administrative company office, you get that rate for that type of business. And it is based off of payroll. So if you have two companies with 5 guys on this company and 1 guy in this company, the guy with the 1 person is going to be cheaper than the guy with the 5 people in that company. Again, it's based off of payroll. Talk to your insurance agent. It is not something you wish to navigate on your own and try to get on your own without talking to somebody. You'll just thank yourself later. Okay. If you're not sure if your workman's comp insurance is set up correctly, or if maybe you're not rated properly, again, talk to your agent. If they're not giving you some straight answers, or you're not really sure, or maybe you want an outside opinion, inbox me, message me, Facebook me, whatever you want to do here. Give me a call at my office. 609-910-0193 is my direct dial number. I'm happy to look it over for you, review your insurance, see if we can see if you're getting the coverages that you need. And let's not forget, insurance, when it comes to a business owner, insurance is the best way to make sure that you're streamlining and reducing your overhead as much as possible. Sometimes you have a policy that you have coverage on that you may not need, or you have too much coverage, or you're not covered correctly and you're paying more than you should. There have been a couple cases where I've been able to take insurance premium that somebody had with another agent, reviewed the policy, streamlined it down, gave them the same coverages, everything the same they had before, but because we have better carriers, I was able to reduce their premium by $7,000 or $8,000 a year. Again, it's a larger company, but still, $7,000 or $8,000 is, could be bonuses for people for the season or something. So, this is a great time of year, springtime. Everybody's getting their businesses ready for the summer season, whether you're inland or a seasonal business. Take a look at your insurance. If you need somebody to review it, you want to make sure you're getting the most out of your policy, inbox me, message me. I'm happy to look over it for you. If myself or my staff might be able to take a look at it and maybe save you some money and earn your business. All right, well, that's pretty much it for today. If you guys have any questions, message me below, post it, inbox me, whatever you may want to do. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Take care.